lucky you. I got 2 more to go. Wow, I told Brandon, I'm like, I don't know how you talked into it. She said I said that. Okay, so this program is Pod Protect. I made this logo. I'm not sure about it. I've been a victim advocate. Let me tell you a little bit. From the last thing. I've been a victim advocate for 30 years. How I became a victim advocate was that actually, I don't tell the story too much, but my daughter was a victim of a crime from ex-husband, and I learned what victim advocates were and exactly what they would do. It's okay, but. And so I became a volunteer victim advocate, just like you guys all are volunteers, a lot of them. And then that's how my story began, and I just loved what I did, and I just became director of YCC, and then Safe Harbor, and County Attorney's Office of Box Elder, and I always noticed I did protective orders and stocking injunctions and child protective orders, and a lot of women would go into domestic violence shelters, and a lot of times they didn't want to leave because of their animals. They can take their kids. They could take their kids into shelters, but they'd have to leave their animals behind. Their other kids, I call them. And 9 times out of 10, most of the men would threaten to kill them. Like, you don't come back, I'm gonna kill your animal, I'm gonna kill the dog, the cat, whatever. Or they've succeeded and did that too. So I, as a victim advocate, have always gone. I'm in Utah. I've gone up to the Capitol and stuff. I fought for animals and stuff on protective orders. Well, when you have a bunch of people who don't understand they're just animals, right? They don't care. And, safety is for the humans and stuff like that. Well, you see it throughout the nation, a lot of animals are killed due to domestic violence situations. This is close to my heart. That just happened in Utah. Our 2 officers got killed due to domestic violence. Domestic violence is one of the #1 killers of women and officers in the nation. 2 of my lovely officers that I work very closely with, because they work for the police department, just passed away for that. And it's hard. This is very clear, dear, close to my heart, because I've been doing this for so long. I want to start programs. I don't have a clicker or anything. I want to start programs that help with the local shelters, rescues, and stuff like that. So when women leave, so Box Elder, because I work for Box Elder Shelter while I'm a volunteer there, I've been that way for like 20 years. We can actually take animals in. The officers and police departments can bring them in, and then we'll shelter them for a little bit, right? So if we have room, obviously, but we leave a couple kennels open for, people that surrender and stuff. Can't be long term, but we've got to figure it out. Rough Haven is one of the ones, I'm sure you've heard that in Utah. But they're full all the time. They're down in Salt Lake. We don't have, like in northern Utah where I'm at, in Box Elder, where we have that. I don't know, in Idaho, do you guys have too much here for something like that? We need to really help these women. And then protective orders now in the state of Utah, you can actually put the dog on there, or a cat, or a pig, or horse, or whatever it might be. And they actually allow that. But we're fighting to get the funding for these programs. We need these women to be able to be safe and to be able to go in shelters. There is grants out there now that are allowing, like BOCA grants, stuff that are allowing, there's pet dog grants and stuff that allow some of the shelters to be able to apply for them to bring your dogs. But again, we have safeties first, right? And we were just talking about that, the last thing about insurance and stuff like that. So a lot of these shelters have to have insurance. If 2 dogs come in and they fight or something like that, so you have to be careful of that too. Or housing, and if the women have to go look for a job or whatever like that, how does that actually look for? If they have to leave the dog behind or whatever that is. Some women have to leave, and it's not safe. And a lot of women won't leave. I'm not just saying women, I should say victims don't leave because of their animals. And that could be a bad situation. So shelters and rescues and stuff, what I'm asking is that we work together to help these victims, because a lot of these kids are very attached to their their animals, and it's hard, right? That's a huge thing. Hey, Gwen, do I need a clicker? What do I need? How do we go to the next one? Oh, there we go. Supporting domestic violence and their pets. This is huge. Report that matter They threaten, kill. So if you do a protective order, I've done many thousands of protective orders over the years, 30 years, and most of the time they're all like handwritten, and most of them like I can't leave my animal. I don't want to leave my animal. It's hard, and because they don't want to leave their kids, but some of the women don't have kids and they don't have animals. So you know you're doing these protective orders and you're doing that stuff, and they rather stay in that home than to leave their animal behind. I mean, and then they get beat. And then that person knows that they can threaten them with that animal all the time. Do you have victim? Do you have people like that? Do you like you need the shelters up here and stuff like that? Do you have any animals that come in? Do that? So when law enforcement goes on a scene,
We don't want to do a problem because, like, I'm pretty heavy on Facebook. I see a lot of posts like the law and stuff like, please, I'm not in this abusive relationship, but what about my dog? You know, he's gonna kill my dog if I don't, and I can't leave my dog, so I'd rather if he kills me than kills the dog, is the general idea. And we went to Colorado many, many years ago, we did help the lady escape an abusive relationship. She had horses and dogs and fish and all kinds of stuff. And she was able to get her horses out and the dogs out. She was all off us. We went and took all of the dogs and got to the fish.
and that happens a lot. And the thing is also some of these dumped animals you'll see on Facebook, and I don't know if you guys have seen them. Sometimes on Facebook you'll see these animals. You'll see women or even men go in there and say, "This might be a long shot, but I'm looking for this dog because my ex or my husband took this dog away from me, and I was in a domestic violence situation, or I'm going through divorce." I mean, it happens all the time. Or I think some of the reasons we have a bunch of dumped dogs is to do stuff like that, and a lot of women can't. I know if they go into a shelter and stuff. I mean, because domestic violence shelters are full too, that kind of stuff. And you know, we only have so many beds and housing for that, and some of them end up in homeless shelters. Our homeless shelters in Ogden they used to allow the dogs to come into the shelter. Now they don't, so they have to sleep outside if they want to keep their animals. Let me tell you, a lot of those women will do that, or families, and they sleep outside. And I go and I feed those dogs, and I give them collars, leashes, and night lights, and I feed them. I have some great people that give me dog food. They go to, and I've gotten 2 other girlfriends now that they go. We feed them the dogs there, because the shelter only has little bags, and I give them big bags. And because of that reason, they're amazing pet owners. Let me tell you, and they will stay outside and sleep with their animals. But
They protect them though, you know, because the man or the relationship just.
yeah, don't do that. I know I have to be careful because
Yeah,
when I started this, it was all mostly women. But yeah.
It's enough for the list.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that we have to keep people safe, right, and the animals and stuff like that. But let me tell you, you'll see that on Facebook all the time. And to this, I really want to, and I'm really going to start working on it. This is going to be my 501c, but I'm going to start. I do my grant writing and stuff like that, but I think we have to really go and talk to legislation and your city council members and people and your mayors and stuff like that, and really get some help. We can't. The shelters are so full. The animal shelters due to a lot of this being this. You know what I'm saying? They have to relinquish their animals, and then we're full, and then we're euthanizing animals, and then it's just a cycle. It's a cycle of abuse, and this isn't healthy. I mean, I bet you that we probably get in, probably around the nation, probably, I don't know, 80% of the animals do a lot of that stuff going on. I mean, you know, people relinquish. I have one right there that relinquished their dog. These are Pennsylvania, and they want to go back to school. But the thing is, I mean, we heard that all the time too, right? But then I have so many people get a hold of me and say, I'm going through a divorce, and that's another thing. Like a lot of these apartments and stuff now are not allowing animals. Somehow we've got to figure that out. I don't know what to do. And so that's the reason I'm bringing it to everyone, to see if we can work together and see if we can collaborate in the different states, because I am in Utah. We're a little different than Idaho, Montana, but I know it's happening because I see you guys' posts on Facebook. There's a lot going on, right? And so I told Glenn, I'm like, hey, we need to bring this and figure it out, because I just feel like we need to have a communication about it. Glenn, how do I change it? Oh, what's it for? How do I go back, Glenn? Can you tell? you can see, there is the link between the children and the pets. This is your family dynamics, child abuse, pet abuse, huge, the same. Kids go through, and so do women or men. You know what? I mean, because there's women that are mean. Let me tell you, because I had a woman a YCC, and she ran over her husband like multiple times with a car. This really is an emotional distress. When you're being pulled away from an animal that might be very, especially for kids, this is huge. And I don't know what the statistics is. I've been looking it up, and they're good coming out with research. When you have something like that and they have to leave their animal behind, when I have a situation in this, a domestic violence situation, what the research brings up is what this actually does to their mental capacity when they get older for kids. You know what I'm saying? Do they ever get another animal because they feel like it's going to be taken away from them? You know, what that psychologically does to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell you, if you try to take my animals away, it wouldn't happen. But unfortunately, women have to make, or men have to make that decision on, you know, what's more important, their kids or their animals. And so unfortunately, what happens to the animal? You know what I'm saying? And what is that for the animal too? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have shelters are full, and they might be scared and want to bite or whatever, and we have these bite cases and stuff because these animals are scared because they don't know either. They've been in a domestic violence situation in a home, listening to screaming, yelling, fighting, throwing things, yelling at them, maybe them been getting hurt, them been thrown outside. You don't know what these animals have been through either, right? So we have to be very careful of what we're doing. And these animals come in the shelter and they're like, well, they're just scared to sit in the back of the crate or, you know, the kennel or whatever. Well, they're just like people. You go to the doctor. My vet tells me all the time, dogs are just like people. Well, obviously, then they have emotions too. And a lot of people don't think animals have emotions, and they have a lot. And so you figure you're pulling these dogs out and you have to put in a shelter. Like, law enforcement comes on scene, they take the animal and they put it in the shelter. Cram an animal for this. It's been through a whole bunch. Put them in a kennel. What do you think that does to them? I mean, honestly, I mean, it's horrifying what that is happening. And so, I mean, there's a huge link between this. The emotional bond. Like I said, most will stay in a relationship than to leave their animal. 71%. I probably would. I wouldn't want to, but then you have some. I mean, because some women. So I'm not to say women, victims. You have emotional and physical abuse. Emotional abuse, you know, they are huge on to mess with their psyche. And they'll be like, I'll just kill the dog, or kill the horse, or kill the pig, or whatever you might have. They won't leave. I'd rather sleep in my car or sleep on the streets than leave my animals. I mean, I'm just one of those people. But I would find other resources. But there isn't much. That's why I'm bringing it to you guys. Like, what resources we can bring from all these states. How can we solve this problem? Because it's a huge problem. I mean, a lot of people domestic violence. Okay, we just had a woman get stabbed on a train, right? We just saw that, right? Did anybody do anything about it? They just walked by her. Domestic violence the same way. I can tell you that you'll be in an apartment complex. Let's say you're in an apartment complex and you're screaming and yelling, and you hear a woman screaming and yelling. I can tell you, most people will not go help that person.
You know, Julie, I was thinking, so some of these ladies in Utah, in some of the places where they are staying, and they do have animals, they have to have their, a lot of these ladies just walk around and they have nothing. And so we have donations that come through, not a lot, just a little, but when these ladies come into our clinic, we actually, you know, if they're in that situation, we actually take those donations and we'll actually vaccinate those dogs so that they can stay in these places. And maybe, you know, if you have some vets around that might help like we do, you know, that do, you know, have a little bit of donations that come in, they can use them for these ladies so that they can stay there with their animals, they can keep them there, and they, you know, can.
So this is Jerry Lynn. She owns Pro Pet in Ogden. She is, love her. She doesn't love the animals that are in the city. And let me tell you, she'll say, I'll be like, this is a bad situation. Like, she knows because we brought in some animals that way. But if you do, you have vets that are willing to do that. I mean, come on, those shots and stuff like that don't cost that much. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They can get it from our discount. I know, like when if you get them through the rescue and stuff like that, I know some of those shots and stuff like that. I know the rabies are more expensive. I understand that, but like just the normal shots, you can get them pretty cheap. I know through rescue.
Rabies costs $5.
Is it $5 you said?
$5 for a vial.
Mm-hmm. And so if you have a rescue and you're not a rescue but you need to, then maybe that's one thing like for like you go through a rescue to help you get the good stuff. Because they do need to have it. I mean, it's just so that way if there is any bite history or there anything happens. But we really need to figure out this. So caring for these pets for survivors, routine, empowerment, to rebuild their lives. I can tell you that it breaks my heart to see these victims go through this. It's been really hard because I've done it for 30 years and I've seen families be torn apart. And I don't want to see that anymore. I mean, sometimes if you make that choice that you're going to go through divorce or you're going to move, I guess that's your choice. And you end up with dogs and cats and whatever else. And that's something else if you relinquish it. But, I just feel like these victims and these survivors need this help. And we need to be more proactive. And we need to listen. And we need to care a little bit more. And understand the situation they're going through. And not just judge them thinking they just want to get rid of their animal if they're going through something like this. Because sometimes I see that on Facebook and they're like, oh, they just want to get rid of it. That isn't the reason why. They might not have a choice. And they have to make that decision between their children, their family, or whatever it might be going through it. So we have to be not so judgmental because victims go through stuff like that and it's amazing. When I started this out, I have seen and probably heard lots of stuff, and a lot of them are, they don't want to say goodbye. I mean, you know what I'm saying? How would you feel if you had to leave all of a sudden your animal? And this happens too with even elderly abuse. It's huge because elderly folks have to leave and their families don't care. And how many of you guys get animals into your shelter or rescue from animal abuse? I mean, from elderly that the family's like, oh, they're going into a home, and now we're not going to take care of the animal.
Every day we have to say no because there's so many.
Right. And how many of us get those in there? And then the family's like, I'm not taking that. And then, they ask, like, so they can come visit. Because I can take my dog to go see my mom. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the centers let you go visit or whatever like that. And some of them, the one that my mom's at actually lets you have animals. I don't know how many you can have, but some of those. And we need to come and bring that forward, to bring to people and say we really need to change the laws and try to help. Honestly, like Jerry Lynn says, we can get the shots. We can do those kind of things. We can help out. Spay and neuter, we can help.
Sometimes that little wire-haired dog that is sitting on the lap of an elderly woman is the last connection to everything.
Can we get this to play? Go ahead.
Should be able to.
This is a.
If not, we can search it from the Google Drive real quick.
Okay.
Try to hit enter.
Do you know the name of it?
I sent it to you in that email. I sent it to you separate too.
You're so amazing.
I know.
Technology is, yeah, I'm in here because I didn't want to do technology. Right where?
That house for them.
Right here?
Oh, no, it's not that way.
October last Miss Friends first.
Just waited to Google, yeah. It played on mine when I sent it to you, but it's, yeah, super YouTube. It's a YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a YouTube.